Yeah, so my name is Ben Hans and I am the co-writer, co-director and co-producer of Blue Skies.
You haven't done this before, have you?
So Blue Skies is a period war drama set during 1979 during the Troubles in Northern Ireland. It follows a young aspiring IRA volunteer called Michael. As he's out in the woods disposing of a weapon, he overhears an explosion and that leads him right into the path of a wounded British soldier, and from there the film becomes about their what relationship builds between the two of them. At the height of what was, I believe, the second COVID lockdown, I was approached by who was my fellow co-writer, director and producer, Sador Ziri, and he mentioned that he had this idea for a story that he wanted to tell. And I remember on the day that we'd spoken, he'd shown a Snapchat story of him and who was to become our DOP trying out some army gear. So I thought, well, that's quite cool. What are you looking to do with that? And he said, well, I want to make this film. Would you be interested in talking about a story with me? We spoke on the phone that night, and this was his brief to me. He said, I want a young character and an older character. I want them to meet in the woods in some kind of war setting, and I want it to be inspired by the Rover. Before knowing what I wanted to do, I knew what I didn't want to do, and I didn't want to do the First World War, the Second World War, and I certainly didn't want to do post-apocalyptic. So in looking at a conflict that's British-based, that could be shot here in this country, I thought about the Troubles and Northern Ireland, and I then read an article which described how at the height of the Troubles, the IRA would use young children and give them weapons to dispose of, and they would take that out and they would just get rid of it for them. And that's where I started to put the foundations of the story in play. And then it was advised to me that I should find some kind of a historical reference to tie the story to, and that's when I was recommended the Warren Point massacre. So the film has it's loosely based on the Warren Point massacre, but I'd say it's more just providing a framework for the story that we tell. At its core, it's a story about humanity, and it took us a while to really nail down what the key message was with the film. But of course, when Sador pitched me the framework of the story, he said I want it to be very much an anti-war film. So I think that what we've tried to do is tell a war film that doesn't have, violence. Any violence that's implied is all off screen. Even the explosions, we never see them. They're always heard kind of in the background. And at its core, it's just about a young boy who has lost his father, tried to find an outlet for that anger and that frustration, and he's met what I guess you could describe as a brooding father figure. So it's a story about humanity, but at its core, it's also a father and son story. Incredibly honoured. I think that this story grew and was developed whilst we were both studying at the university in Millennium Point, where the festival's going to be held. So going from sitting in that building, trying to carve out this story, trying to figure out what the necessary beats were, trying to figure out the logistical nightmare that it was, and to now be at a point where we're getting ready to see it screened at the same place at the Birmingham Film Festival, where we are both, this is our, hometown, where I in particular have been born and raised. So yeah, it's a massive honour, and I'd say not necessarily the awards, but just that we get to see it screened at our home festival. That's a massive honour. So if you're in and around Birmingham on Sunday the 6th of November at 6 p.m, come along to the Birmingham Film Festival, Millennium Point, and see Blue Skies.